Alright, quick update on ICP. So in my opinion, it looks like we're putting in another lower high in this descending formation that I've been talking about for a while. So just quickly, you can see we've got our all-time high, we have a higher low, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and in my opinion we've put in another lower high around this region of $24. So if we look at what's going on with the EMA ribbons, really, you can see these have been strong resistance since the inception. We kind of come into these, sometimes we have a euphoric jump above the top of them before we do start to fall down again. So these EMA ribbons really haven't flipped green for a very, very long time, but you can see the short-term moving average on these EMA indicators tried to flip the long-term moving average, basically trying to initiate a buy signal on the EMA ribbons for these to flip green. That never happened. We came right up to the long-term moving average and got rejected, and the price is now moving lower. So if we look at what's going on here as well, you can see a big M pattern. I'm personally not going to take the price target of it. I did just want to warn you that we are kind of Ming out. Every time that we do start to M out, you can see, we've got M's here. It normally does entail a big move to the downside, and the only reason why I'm not taking the price target of these is because I've looked at these M patterns before on ICP, and they always go much lower than the M target actually predicts. So I don't think it's going to be much use giving you the price target of that. Nonetheless, you can obviously find it yourself if you really want to. But if we look at what's going on the squeeze mom now, we've covered the EMAs. This is the squeeze momentum indicator, which is my favorite momentum indicator to trade based off. You can see that we kind of had a short-lived bounce, and now it is kind of curving down. So on the squeeze mom, especially on the daily, it looks like we're starting to head to the downside. So if these do flip red, we could have a lot of momentum to move back down. You can previously see every time we've switched from the dark green into red, we really do have a big landslide on the squeeze mom. And you can see, when it flipped over here, we had a massive landslide. When we flipped over here, we had a massive landslide. I really don't want to go through every single depiction of it, but nonetheless, you can see that it really isn't good when we are heading down like this, turning into dark green, losing momentum, and starting to head down. So, in my opinion, if we're purely basing this on the daily, it really looks like we're starting to head down. So if we come down to the lower time frames and get an idea of what could be going on in the short term, you can see we've recently just flipped a sell signal on the 4-hourly EMAs. Now it looks like we're starting to head up, and on the 4-hour we're kind of losing momentum on the selling side. We never have too much momentum on these, even though they can sometimes carry a lot of weight, but nonetheless, we've had a dead cat bounce, and we could potentially be heading higher. Like, I really wouldn't rule it out that the short-term moving average could come down, and we could do something like this and head up to somewhere between round about $20, 1972 to be precise on this. But do bear in mind, if you're watching this 4 hours later, an hour or 2 hours, 8 hours later, these are obviously very fast moving averages, so they're gonna move around a lot. This price target is probably not going to be valid by the time you're watching it. But nonetheless, we could have a quick-lived breakout. I don't believe we would head above the $20. I think on the 4-hourly, it's pretty clear-cut that we've already had the dead cat bounce. So I really wouldn't hope that we would move up to these levels. Obviously, I'm not going to be trading this personally, but I think it is a possibility that we could move up before having a rejection if we are looking at this on the lower time frame. So. Also, momentum is starting to pick up on the sell volume. On the 4-hour, I mean, it's really kind of 50-50 whether it's picking up momentum. The past 4-hour hasn't been too impressive, but before that we've been picking up momentum. So this is why I believe it is a possibility we could have a move back up to 20, hit the short-term moving average before starting to head down. But I really think we should be focusing on the daily. Obviously, we've had a strong rejection from these EMA ribbons. Like I said, the daily EMA ribbons, the short-term moving average, is right here at 1968. So that lines up pretty perfectly with the 4-hourly EMA around about 1970, 1972. So there's a lot of confluence around about just this 1970 region. So I would potentially consider that we could come up to this region before rolling off the table. Now, looking at where we can really head down from now is really not good. I mean, we haven't been below these previous local lows down here, so I would have to assume that, you know, we would at least be coming down to sweep the floor at $14.73. And if we take a Fibonacci retracement of this move and see what the extension targets would be, you can see, oh, I must have covered this. I must have covered this before because I've got a green box down here. So if we look at what's going on here, you can see the 1.618 Fibonacci would be around the 1031. Now, I don't know why I have this orange line down here. Let me try and find, maybe I drew the macro trend before. I must have removed one of my fibs. No, it's not from here. I imagine it's not to the candle body close. Was it this large impulse? I'm not 100% sure where this has come from, if I'm completely honest, so I really wouldn't put too much weight on it. Was it the 2.618? No, it doesn't look like it. So I'm not 100% sure what that is doing there. Let me remove the bottom of this. We might find out what that is another day, but nonetheless, I think this 1.618 Fibonacci down here is a very, very strong level where this could potentially be coming down to. So really, you know, I think we are heading down. I think it's pretty clear cut with what's going on the 4 hourly. I think we've had our dead cat bounce. If not, we're going to have a move up to, you know, roundabout on the 4 hourly, anywhere between 1970, where this moving average is, or, you know, potentially all the way up to 20. But, you know, momentum is really carrying a lot of weight on this. I think especially on the daily, we're losing lots and lots of momentum, and I really wouldn't expect a push above 1970, but we could potentially see a move up to the top at $20.14. So obviously these targets are going to move around a lot. If you're watching this in like 8 hours time and we're still around these regions, then, you know, these EMA ribbons are going to have lower price targets because they're moving to the downside now. So that's really all I see for ICP. On all of the charts, I'm seeing momentum fall in terms of buying volume, and I think that we are going to start picking up on some selling volume coming in the next couple of days and the next couple of weeks. Also, if we look at what's going on with ICP against Bitcoin, we've got this huge nasty head and shoulders pattern. We've come back and we've back tested the neckline, and now we're starting to head down. So in my opinion, ICP priced against Bitcoin, it really doesn't look good at all. I mean, we never even flipped remotely green on these, you know, until all the way back here, and this was really short-lived just because we had a euphoric rally. But, you know, you can see once the ICP BTC pair starts to turn dark green, it normally means within a few days it's going to flip red. And I mean, look at these selling volumes before. So I think this could definitely carry ICP all the way down to the 1.618 priced against Bitcoin. And that would entail, you know, we predicted this to happen a while ago. We were saying this was going to be a 59% drop, in my opinion. This is now approximately a 57.5% drop against Bitcoin. So ICP, in my opinion, really does not look good at all. It looks terrible priced against Bitcoin and against the USD. I mean, obviously we're in such a huge downtrend that it looks terrible anyway, but, you know, we've been rejected once again from these daily EMAs, and, you know, in my opinion, this is going to carry the squeeze momentum to the downside. And when we have previously switched red, we normally have a absolutely collapse in price. So that's really all I see for ICP. Best of luck if you're holding it. Once again, none of this is financial advice. It's just my opinion on the market, and you've always got to do what's best for you. Cowboy out. Peace.